Awesome. Good evening, Crystal. Happy Tuesday. I'm excited to log on another podcast with you and, get to know you more and get to know me more when it comes to, sharing this opportunity that we have with other individual power ladies or inspiring others or, sharing our stories. So, I'm excited today, guys. We're going to be talking a little bit about entrepreneurship and working a typical, 10 to 5, 9 to 5, depending on when you come out from school and going straight to a job. But um, I'm excited to start it off with, talking about Crystal right now. So, Crystal, you came from an industry where you went to school, the typical, you go to school, you get a degree, you get a typical 9 to 5 corporate job, and now you're in your 30s and you're looking young as ever. How did you transition, or how does it feel to be transitioning from, that journey of path that people typically take to now the entrepreneurship life? Give us a little insight on how you feel, how the people around you talk to you and your mindset and just your story in general. We'd love to hear.
Okay, awesome. Well, first off, thank you so much, Janine, for, getting back together with me again for our second podcast today. I'm just like super excited just to be able to just share our insights and the way our minds are work when it comes to building our own businesses, right?
Hmm.
And so, with that question, it's a lot coming from a typical job into building a business. I don't have a lot of experience building a business. I know a lot of my family members have always had that kind of spirit of having
Hmm.
a business. My parents own their own business. My aunt and uncle did, a couple of cousins do. So, when it comes to when I first got started, I was going to school and I went to school for outdoor recreation and leadership. So I knew I wanted to do something that involved leadership, but I didn't know
Hmm.
what. So I knew that I loved the outdoors. I love hiking and all that stuff, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, why don't I just go to school and get a degree in teaching people how to properly have fun outside while respecting the wildlife and respecting the flowers and trees and stuff, right? So, I went into that field and I really loved everything that I did in college. And I really originally wanted to be in the Forest Service industry and just go out there and just spend all my time outside. But, um, you know, for myself, unfortunately, that type of position required a lot of physical activity that I personally cannot do anymore.
Hmm.
So I kind of switched over to looking for some other kind of opportunities where I can still contribute to the community and have a sense of purpose. So that's where my aunt recommended me to go into senior care. She said, since I went to school for outdoor recreation, there's like activity director programs that can just help keep the community going within the senior community as far as engaged for their mental and their spiritual and mental health and things
Hmm.
like that. And so I really loved doing that position. I did that for like 6, 7 years. It was a lot. Um, but and people that are really close to me, they knew that it was kind of draining, over time because I poured my
Hmm.
heart and soul into others and just trying to make sure that they're okay, that they're taken care of. I will go above and beyond, work more hours than I need just to help somebody else. And
Hmm.
over time, that takes a toll on your body, right? So, yeah, I mean, over time, just when you're continuously pouring into others, your
Hmm.
emotions, your mental health, everything starts to drain. And you're doing everything you can. And that's pretty much in any industry, really, because you're a hard worker. You know that you can get things done. But over time, a lot of jobs just like take advantage of you and they're like Crystal do that, Crystal do this, Crystal do that, right? And
Mhm.
so it was a blessing in disguise when the senior care no longer needed a lot of the managers because of COVID, right? It just had to deal with finances. And so they let a lot of the managers go. And so that's where I kind of fell into this business opportunity. You know, I was always looking for something to be able to do on my own because I saw my parents, building a business. I saw people around me, close friends, building their business and pursuing their dreams and pursuing their passions. So when it comes to like a mindset as far as going from, okay, am I going to just work the rest of my life for somebody
Mhm.
else to make all that extra money and me making just a little bit? Or am I going to learn how I can make the most amount I can for myself and for my family, right? And also help teach other people doing that.
Mhm. On that note, Crystal, I did have a question, when it comes to you transitioning from a corporate job to now the entrepreneurship life, did you ever encounter where, you had family or friends tell you like, "Oh, don't do the business because you already have a career that you love and you get paid for well,"
Mhm.
Or did you ever have anyone like make you feel like you couldn't do it? Or they made you feel like, why go into the entrepreneurship life if you already went to school for a degree for something? You already, spent time on that. So if you can elaborate more on that part.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just one person in particular, my father, has grown up in that kind of mindset where you have to get a job or go to school, get a job, get a degree, and get into the government work because they have great pension plans. Well, that
Mhm.
might have been good when he was growing up, but if you're looking at what's going on now, it might not be so good anymore, just the way things are structured, right? So he was always telling me to get a government job. This is going to be good for you. Their plans are great. Well, do you know like how those plans work? Really? No.
Mhm.
And since I started into building a business, especially in the financial industry, I'm starting to learn more and more about it. I'm just like, well, okay, so maybe that isn't a great opportunity for me. It might be for somebody, but not for me, and I'd rather go out there and just teach people. So, yeah.
There you go. I
But,
like it. Thank
I'm
you.
just like, if you want to keep telling me what to do, that's fine. I love you, Dad. I know you mean good intentions, but this is what I want to do. I want to
Mhm.
build a business. I want to help people.
Mhm.
So,
So on that note, it's hard, especially when it comes to people that are close to your heart. Did you ever feel that when your dad said that to you, that you were like, okay, Dad, I understand what you're coming from. I'll listen to you. Did you ever feel like when times got hard in the business, because any business, there's ups and downs. Did you ever feel that you needed to take a step back away from the business, or this business wasn't for you, or entrepreneurship life wasn't for you in general? And if you ever did feel that way, how did you get your mindset, back on that path of positiveness, you
mhm.
know?
Mhm. That's a really great question. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of ups and downs, just like in anything that you do. You have good intentions or well, good energy and low energy, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, when I'm starting to feel that slump and starting to go down into that slump, like, am I doing the right thing? Should I just get a job? Like, it's just more secure. I should just do that. But ultimately, it comes down to, well, the reasons why I'm doing it, you know, because you
Mm-hmm.
can't become financially free working for somebody else. You can only do that for yourself. And so that's where you need to, pursue and just persevere. So, But I love all these questions, Janine. This is like absolutely amazing. Um, is as far as just like our mindset, going from job to entrepreneur. So I'm really curious, like, what about you yourself? Like tell us, how did you
Mhm.
switch from working, those couple of jobs that you were working at, and then just going straight into the business?
Mhm. Well, first off, thank you, Crystal, for answering the questions. I know I threw a lot at you, but hearing the story and, what you went through, a lot of people might be going through it as well, either someone close to them telling them they can't do it or entrepreneurship isn't normal. But for me, Crystal, I started the business when I was 18. And I was always in that mindset of wanting to help others. So I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a pediatrician, but school in general wasn't for me. I went to school for a semester or college for a semester, and I felt like it wasn't the right path for me. And I went to school, I worked 2 to 3 jobs. I worked at the mall, at Orange Tree, at Eat Club. I did DoorDash, I did nannying. Like I did a lot of things at once. And I transitioned from working multiple jobs because my brother always taught me to be independent, right? My mom's a single mother, and I always knew that I wanted to, take care of myself. I didn't want to rely on anyone else but myself. Not saying my mom and brother didn't take care of me because they did, they still do. But I transitioned from entrepreneurship probably when I was 18 and a half. I got started into the business and I fell in love with the crusade right away. I fell in love with having my own hours, freedom of time. I mean, I did have sacrifices where I still had to do the business, but I also had to work part-time to get by, you know. Like all businesses, it has their ups and downs. They have their good months, their bad days, their bad hours. But I never let that get in the way of my dreams and my goals. Like I always knew that I wanted so much more for me, for myself and for my family. And I felt like I was always in that mindset of go, go, go. There's so much more I can do. So I can't really relate to people when they say corporate jobs because I never had an HR person. I never had, a payroll where they had a 401k or a dental plan. Because right out of high school, I started the business. I started the entrepreneurship life. And I did have side hustles where it came to door dashing and stuff like that, like I mentioned, but I always had that mindset of there's nothing more in life than chasing what you want in life. I never wanted to be someone where someone had to hold me down or I couldn't go on vacation unless I had to ask for time off or PTO or sick days. Like when it comes to talking about that, when people talk about that, I'm like, I don't understand how you guys feel when you guys talk about PTOs, sick days, sick leave. Like I don't understand that language.
Mhm.
So for me, when it comes to the entrepreneurship mindset, something I always tell myself is live a few years, you know, grinding hard. So the next few years of your life, you can live that life like nobody else can that have the typical corporate job. And I'm not saying corporate is bad. I mean, there are some good jobs in the corporate world, like what your dad said, whether it be for the government, doctors, nurses, teachers, very noble jobs. But for me as an individual, I've always had that entrepreneurship mindset of owning my own time. So, one thing I would say to all the ladies on here is, no matter what you're going through, whether it be you transitioning at um, a wiser age or a younger age, or from a career you worked your whole life for, it doesn't matter where you start off. It doesn't matter how late you are in starting your own business. It doesn't even have to be the business that me and Crystal are in. I don't know if anyone ever heard the story of KFC. I believe it was KFC. He didn't start the business until I believe he was like 70 or 80.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's never too late.
Mhm.
So never too young, never too late. You know, as someone who started very young in the business, as long as you have people who believe in you and you believe in yourself, you know, it's it's a path that, you know, I was willing to take. You know, everyone has different journeys. I can't say what I went through is going to be the same thing other people went through, but
Mhm.
it all just depends on your mindset. And that's why I love how you talked about mindset and talking about whoever is talking to you behind your ear and telling you you can't do this, you can't do this, have a normal corporate life, have that white picket fence. Like we can still have that in the,
Yeah.
we can still have that white picket fence, big yard.
Mhm.
One of
But
my
you don't
dreams is
have
to have
to
a big
ask
club.
somebody for it. You can
Exactly,
make it happen. Hmm.
So that's something that I love about being an entrepreneur is not being able to have to ask someone, not having someone tell me what to do and when to wake up, when to sleep. Obviously, still have that mindset that you're still working, because
Hmm.
the business is not going to work unless you do. So that's one of the biggest things I would say.
Oh my gosh. You just like, it's amazing just kind of hearing from you as far as just how you literally just transform into building a business, right? And, when it comes to doing that and going for your goals, you have to be willing to do it.
Yes,
You have to be willing to put in the work because it is not an easy trek, but it is definitely rewarding.
yes,
So,
I agree with you on that. Especially in entrepreneurship life. I mean, how many times does someone feel they can't do it? A lot of times, when they go through hardships,
mhm,
but it's up to that person to get back on their feet, surround yourself with individuals who make you, who uplift you. This is why I love what me and you are doing because we're in the same business. We're in totally different states. You're out in Colorado, I'm in California, but we still have a relationship and a friendship where we can uplift each other no matter where we are. And I love that we're doing this podcast because individuals out there who don't have someone to lean on or someone that they can talk to or reach out to, like they can always talk to us.
yep, yep.
So if anyone does have any questions,
Mhm.
feel free to like message us on Instagram or comment below or on TikTok, Facebook. We still use that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. I mean, we could talk for hours, Janine. So much, so much. But, just to kind of save on some time. And so, I really appreciate just us being able to share our mindset as far as when it comes to, uh, you know, different entrepreneur life and just a working life. And I definitely want to touch base later on as far as like um what you were saying, surrounding yourself with individuals, right?
Mhm.
Certain kind of individuals that uplift you and motivate you. So maybe that'll be on our next podcast. But
Yes, I'd
thank you.
love that.
I just want to say thank you so much, for just taking the time and sitting down today and, just pouring your heart out. And just hopefully we're able to bring out some motivation and some inspiration to a lot of people out there within the social media community, right? So,
Yes, I agree. And before we end, Crystal, I did want to say a quote that I read this morning for those who are in the entrepreneurship life right now or starting their entrepreneurship life. And when you feel like you failed, remember, you have not failed. You've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So find that one way.
yes, that I love that quote so much. But thank you so much, everyone, for attending our little podcast. Hopefully, you were able to take some things away. Comment below. What you kind of took away, what you learned. Maybe if you have any questions, if you kind of want to know a little bit more and what it's like to be a woman in business, or just building a business in general. We'd be happy to answer those questions. So thank you, and we'll definitely see you guys next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys.